Okay, this is your Tuesday star review. So today we're doing quotation marks. Quotation marks are used to show dialogue. And these are what quotation marks look like. This is an opening quotation mark, and this is a closing quotation mark. Okay? This means someone is talking. The speaker tag is set off from the quotation marks by a comma. And the speaker tag is telling who is talking. So there are three different ways that we can do this. Number one, the speaker tag before the quotation. She said, this is my speaker tag. Okay? She said, tomorrow I'm going to clean my closet and give some clothes to charity. So when the speaker tag comes before the quotation mark, we say, speaker tag, she said, comma, quotation mark, capital letter. Okay? She said, comma, quotation mark, capital letter, tomorrow I'm going to clean my closet and give some clothes to charity, period, quotation mark. The period goes inside the quotation marks. Okay? So a comma after the speaker tag and before the quotation marks. So the next one that we have is the speaker tag in the middle of the quotation. So here's my speaker tag. She said. But I've split the quotation in two. So this says, tomorrow, comma, quotation marks, she said, comma, quotation marks, I'm going to clean my closet and give some clothes to charity, period, quotation marks. The period is still inside the quotation marks. This comma is inside the quotation marks. She said, speaker, comma, quotation marks. So we're always setting off our speaker tag with a comma. Okay? So, a comma before the quotation marks and after the speaker tag. A comma goes before the quotation marks. This was a mistake. Sorry. A comma goes before the quotation marks, right here, and after the speaker tag. Now, here's a big note right here. If a sentence is split by the speaker tag, do not capitalize the continued sentence unless it is a proper noun. Okay, so the sentence is, tomorrow I'm going to clean my closet and give some clothes to charity. So the only reason I'm capitalizing I is because it's a proper noun. If I was saying, tomorrow the boy is going to clean his room, it would be tomorrow, comma, quotation marks, she said, comma, quotation marks, and I would not capitalize the boy because it's still the same sentence. Okay? So this is, even though this is a split sentence, I capitalize this because I always capitalize the pronoun. So I'm going to go ahead and write that. If she was going to say, tomorrow, comma, quotation marks, she said, and you notice I don't speaker tag unless it comes at the beginning, okay? She said, comma, quotation marks, the boy is cleaning his room. I don't capitalize this because it's just tomorrow the boy is cleaning his room. Period, quotation marks. Okay? And lastly, the speaker tag at the end of the quotation. Tomorrow, I'm going to clean, quotation marks, capital letter. Tomorrow I'm going to clean my closet and give some clothes to charity, comma, quotation marks, she said, period. Okay? So I'm always setting off my tag with a comma, quotation marks, she said, period. Another thing to remember is that quotation marks come in pairs. Check the opening and closing quotation in your passages. So this is what I mean by this. So I'm going to look at a passage. This one has a lot of quotation marks in it, okay? So if I had a passage that had a lot of quotation marks, I would do this. Opening quotation mark, closing quotation mark, check. That's a pair. So that is correct. And you notice it says comma, quotation mark. The comma, this is a split quotation. I tell you, comma, quotation mark, Dad said to Mom. It's hard. They did not capitalize the I because this is continuing that sentence. Okay? So this is correct. I tell you, comma, quotation mark, Dad said to Mom, comma, quotation marks. So here's my opening quotation marks. It's hard to let a good employee go. Now I don't have quotation marks here, but I'm still going to keep going. But I had to do it. The new can do the same job in half the time, quotation marks. So I have a pair here, and then I have an opening quotation and a closing quotation. And the reason why that's important is because when I get down to sentence 17, the question asks me, or sentence 18, Okay, one of my questions says insert quotation marks at the beginning of the sentence. All right, so, and also it says insert quotation marks at the end of the sentence. So I need to look at this and see what's happening here. Sentence 18. Okay. So, there's no quotation marks anywhere in this sentence. But I have to look at the sentences around it. So let's look at sentence 17. Lucy turned to me and said, comma, quotation marks. This is an opening quotation mark. Heather isn't doing anything for Timmy. A robotic camera could do her job. Okay, so where are my closing quotation marks? If I put the quotation mark here at the beginning of the sentence, I have an opening quotation mark and no closing quotation mark. So I would not put it at the beginning of the sentence. If I put it at the end of the sentence, this is still part of what Lucy is saying. Lucy turned to me and said, comma, quotation mark. Heather isn't doing anything for Timmy. A robotic camera could do her job. So I need to add a quotation mark. Now, be careful, because if I would have just looked at sentence 18, I would have thought, well, no, I don't need quotation marks anywhere here. I have to look above it and find where's my opening quotation, where's my closing quotation. It can be with multiple sentences. So please don't get tricked by quotation marks on the test. And it's important to remember, if you have a passage that has quotation marks, if everywhere else in the passage it's going to be correct unless they ask you to change something. So I can look at this as a reference. Oh yeah, quotation marks, capital letter, comma, quotation marks, and I can use these as a guide. Here's a quotation marks. Will there be enough work to go around when Lucy, Ivy, and Timmy start looking for jobs? Question mark, quotation mark. Okay, so my question mark goes inside of my quotation mark. So be careful with quotation marks. Now you're going to complete the rest of the Google form on quotation marks.